I have been procrastinating turning this camera on and making this video and talking to you all, but I feel in an okay place and I think that it's time to be completely open and honest with you guys. So, I finished dieting 12 weeks ago, and during my period of dieting, I lost about 5 kilos. My diet ended 12 weeks ago, and since that time, I have been steadily increasing my calories in the forms of carbs and fats in a process called reverse dieting. And I gave an update on how my reverse diet was going at the 6-week mark about 1.5 months ago, and so there's a video on that as well. I said in that video that I would give another update at the 12-week mark. It's now been 13 weeks, but it's basically been 3 months since I finished dieting, and so this is that video. Before I get into the bulk of the video though, I just want to give like an actual update as to how my reverse diet has been going. So firstly, here's a little physique update so you can see how I'm looking. I think I look quite different, but a lot of that is just to do with the lighting. The lighting is playing a big factor here, guys. The daylight savings is in and the lighting is shit. So anyway, here's a physique update. Alright, I hope you can see what I mean in terms of the differences in the lighting and everything like that. Honestly, the last 3 to 4 weeks, I haven't really cared about my physique that much. It's kind of been this weird neutral space that I've been. I kind of get up in the morning and I see myself and I'm like, yeah. And then I just like get on with my day. I'm not like, yes, I slay. I'm not like really feeling myself or anything, but I'm not like picking myself apart either. I just feel like how I'm looking at the moment isn't impacting my emotions at all for either positive or the negative. And honestly, I'm okay with being in that space. At the end of my cut and early on in my reverse diet, just soon after my cut, I was really self-critical and there were a lot of like mind games going on. And so to kind of reach a point where I'm just not self-critical and not like picking myself apart, I'm really happy and comfortable with this point that I've been at the last few weeks and how I'm feeling towards myself. I feel very at peace, and realistically, I don't know how long this feeling is going to last. Like, I'm not saying like, I am now forever confident in my body or feeling good about myself or my shape or whatever doesn't affect me. I'm not saying that, but let's be realistic. I'm just gonna enjoy this kind of neutral feeling while it lasts. So it has been 3 months since my diet has ended, and I mentioned before that I have been reverse dieting, which is the process of steadily increasing your calories after a dieting period. And so I thought I would cover now how my calories have tracked over the last 3 months and how my weight has responded. Firstly, as always, looking at this graph, please just remember that these numbers are specific only for me and my body. Different calories work for everyone depending on your lifestyle, activity levels, diet history, genetics. And ideally, you want to be trying to lose weight while eating as much as possible. So again, with this graph, we've got weight in kilos and the blue line, and that's on the left side axis. And we've got my average calories a day in red on the right side axis. So my diet ended at the beginning of February, and straight away I had an increase in calories, and this was guided by my coach, Chrissy Dask, who I've interviewed in like a previous video if you want to get to know more about that online coaching process. We just wanted to get me off 1,600 calories and on a semi-reasonable intake as quickly as possible, so that's what we did. At the end of my diet, I was also doing 3 spin classes a week. And over the first couple of weeks, once my diet had ended, we got rid of those 2 extra sessions. So currently I'm just doing 1 class a week. So immediately as soon as the diet ended, it was, let's get the calories up, let's get the cardio down. From this initial jump, calorie increases have been a little bit slower, and although my weight has kind of fluctuated, I stayed around about 65 kilos, which is the same weight that I ended my diet. And this is really positive to see that the calories were going up and up and up, but my weight was staying pretty much around the same point. So that little gap in my weight measurement is right after Easter and a work trip away. I ate a lot over Easter and on this work trip, and basically I just didn't want to weigh myself so soon after all of that. I didn't think it would be very good for my headspace, so I just kind of skipped away in. And honestly, I'm not really surprised at all that I gained basically about a kilo after this period. So now my weight is pretty much maintaining, maybe even slowly gaining weight, and I'm eating just over 2,200 calories a day. And this is pretty much the amount of calories that I require a day to maintain my weight. So my reverse diet is pretty much over now. So yes, I have gained some weight, like a kilo to 1.5 kilos. Probably the majority of this is just water due to the fact that I'm eating over 600 more calories a day and there's more carbs and carbs hold water. So I'm really happy with this, to be honest. I think although there was a lot of mind games that happened during the diet, it was a successful diet on paper, and it's been a fairly successful reverse diet, again, on paper, if we only look at the numbers. In terms of my training now, I am just doing one spin class a week because I enjoy it. It's good for my cardiovascular health. And for my other 5 sessions a week, I am lifting weights. I am preparing for a powerlifting competition, which is going to be at the start of July. I'm currently on my 4th week of 12 preparing for this powerlifting competition. So my goals at the moment are very much strength focused, performance focused, not so much aesthetic focused, which is, I think, is really important when you're not dieting and when you're increasing your calories, is to take that focus away from how you're looking and focus on some strength and performance goals. I felt really good in the gym. I'm getting stronger. I'm productive at work. I have a really good social life. I feel really kind of balanced now, and it helps that I'm maintaining on 2,200 calories a day. Of course, I'd love to eat more than that, but there is only so much certain metabolisms can take, and 2,200 is enough for me to be happy. Okay, so calories are going well, weight is going well, performance and strength is going well. Now to talk about what I actually want to talk about in this video, which is something that I've been struggling with since the start of the year. And normally when I do these vlogs, like, I write notes, I'm like, here's the graph, so I remember to say everything, and here's some notes for like the first half of the video just so I don't forget what I'm saying. But I found when it came to talking about this bit, I actually couldn't write it down. It was too hard to write it down, so I'm just going to speak to you guys without having pre-planned anything of what I'm going to say. And hopefully it comes out right, and hopefully it all makes sense. Wow, this is challenging. My heart is beating quite quickly. Straight up, I should put up trigger warning, content warning for eating disorders. Bulimia is going to be discussed. If you find that triggering at all, please switch off now. As you guys will know, I struggled with an eating disorder with bulimia throughout 2014 and at the start of 2015. I went and sought help from an eating disorder psychologist. I went and saw a sports nutritionist, and then I managed to get over it with some professional help. And I've done a previous video on that. It's going to be linked in the description box below. So pretty much since 2015, I've had binges here and there, but there hasn't been any kind of purging. And for me, the form of purging that I was doing while I had bulimia was self-induced vomiting. So since 2015, yeah, it's been 3 years. I've had periods of overeating. I've had periods of binging occasionally here and there, but overall it's been absolutely nothing compared to what was happening during the period of my eating disorder. During that time, it was kind of binging and purging, I would say 2 to 3 times a week. But then at the start of the year, I had an incident and I was with friends and I binged, and I followed through with the purging afterwards. And at the time I was like, okay, this happened, whatever, like, this is an isolated incident, I'll just move on. I didn't tell anyone about it. And that was while I was still dieting. So I blamed the low calories. I was like, look, I'm on low calories. Once the diet is done and I'm on decent calories, it'll be fine. And then I had another binge really early on in my reverse diet, and I purged again. And I was like, oh, okay, that just happened because I'm still on low calories. Once I get up onto higher calories, it'll be fine. But since the start of the year, apart those two incidents aside, since the start of the year, I have binged and self-induced vomiting afterwards 6 times. And some of those occurred when I was on decent calories. And so it wasn't anything to do with the fact that I was under eating and felt restricted and then binged. I don't know. Like, I don't know why some of them happened. A lot of the times the binges occurred in social situations. So I was out with friends in a social environment where there was lots and lots of food around. And this always used to happen to me back in 2015 as well. There's just so much food and I want to try everything. I want to eat everything. And I would make the conscious decision to overeat and I'd be like, yep, I'm okay. Yep, I'm enjoying all this food. This is all great. And then all of a sudden I would reach a point and it was too much. And I would reach the kind of fuck it point and I would just go, I've eaten too much. I'm not okay with this. Then I would keep going. I would keep overeating. Not even enjoying or tasting the food anymore, which is where I start to call it a binge, where you're just compulsively eating, you're not actually enjoying the food anymore, and you're eating until you feel kind of unwell. And then once I reached that kind of fuck it point is when I made the decision, well, fuck it, I'm gonna just eat my way through everything, whatever, and then I'm going to purge afterwards. And so that has happened about 6 times since the start of the year. And this time it was quite different to my eating disorder days. Firstly, it was way less frequent. It wasn't happening like multiple times a week. It was like once every 2 to 3 weeks kind of thing that it would happen. So way less frequent, but also it wasn't really affecting my life very much. It's really hard to describe, but I felt like this binging and purging was kind of happening outside of myself. It didn't feel like it was me that was actually doing it. In 2014, when I was properly struggling with an eating disorder, I was like fearful of social occasions. I was fearful of having certain foods in the house. I was fearful of work morning teas and things like that. I was scared of being put in situations where I might overeat, and I like withdrew socially quite a bit because of that. So back then my eating disorder was affecting my everyday life. This time it hasn't felt like that at all. Like I said, it kind of feels like it's happening outside of me. I still feel really like happy with my life. I'm still being really social. It's not affecting my relationships. It's not affecting my work, nothing like that. It just kind of, it feels like a separate kind of part of me. And I think that's also why I have procrastinated making this video and talking about it for so long, because it didn't really feel like it was me that was doing it in a strange kind of way. And because of that, I just kind of thought, oh, this is just like a random phase thing that I'm going through. This can kind of stop anytime. Like, okay, I had like a couple of slip-ups, but it's just gonna stop. Like, no, it doesn't just stop for me. I've found that I need to talk to people and I need to address it head on. And basically, I can't deal with these kind of issues myself. And I procrastinated and didn't want to open up for so long because I thought that I was strong enough to deal with it myself. But in reality, like if I was talking to a friend, if I was talking to someone else and not me and giving advice to a friend, I would always say, no, opening up and talking to someone is a strong thing to do, not keeping it all within yourself. I think another big reason why I haven't said anything until now is I was kind of scared of judgment in a way. The biggest hurdle that I needed to get was talking to my coach Chrissy about it. So I have told my coach before, I've told all of you guys, I told Chrissy I think about 3 weeks ago now. And I kept finding reasons not to tell her. I was like, oh, she's really busy this week. Oh, she's got this on. Oh, she's sick. She won't want to hear about this. And so I kind of come to the decision that I needed to talk to her about it, but then I kept procrastinating telling her about it. I think I was really worried that she would be disappointed in me that I hadn't said anything earlier. I didn't say anything earlier because I thought I could deal with it myself, and then it kind of just kept happening, and I kept digging myself a deeper and deeper hole, and then I was like, fuck, now I'm in this situation. So I guess, yeah, I was worried what her reaction would be to me opening up, the fact that I'd lied, the fact that I hadn't been completely honest when checking in with her. And then I was also worried about telling you guys, and the fact that I haven't been 100% open and honest. And I do pride myself on being a really open and honest individual. So for me not to have met that and feel like I've let you guys down is something that I procrastinated and didn't want to deal with, and I just hoped it would just go away. However, that being said, I think it is also important to say that I can put on social media what I choose to put on social media. I don't have to tell you guys absolutely everything. I'm not obligated to do that. I just feel like I should. So that was a little bit complicated. So in terms of the current situation of where I'm at, my last binge and purge episode was about 4 weeks ago. And I told my coach Chrissy 3 weeks ago. And since then, I have had a couple of small overeating episodes, but overeating to me is different to binging. I haven't had any binges, so I haven't had any need to purge. And I think even though I was so fearful of telling Chrissy, of telling my coach, of what she would think, of what she would say, all of this is in my head, by the way, she responded great. The act of telling her took this huge weight off my shoulders, and I've been able to take a step forward in trying to work through this current issue. I'm not going to say that I currently have an eating disorder because technically I don't. However, any kind of like binging and purging, if it's kind of happening on a semi-regular basis, is an issue that needs to be addressed. Now, I mentioned earlier in this video that over the last like 3 to 4 weeks, I've felt really at peace with my body. I've felt really like, meh, like whatever, I'm cool, I'm neutral. And I think this feeling towards my body, although I'm not really thinking about it that much, is the main factor in why I've stopped struggling with this, because ultimately, when you kind of get to the root of it, the reason I was self-inducing vomiting is because I didn't want those calories in my body. I didn't want those calories to contribute to fat gain. I put a lot of weight and value on my physical appearance. However, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, where I haven't been putting value or weight into my physical appearance, and I've just been like, whatever, I haven't been struggling with this. So to me, that's kind of a direct correlation that probably a big reason that I was going through these binging and purge episodes, it was a lot to do with my insecurity with my body. And now that I feel in an okay place, I hope this lasts a very long time, those instances haven't been occurring. So this video is not me saying that I've been victorious and I'm not going to have another lapse at any point in time, and it's been like 4 weeks now and I'm cured. Not at all. This video is just another step in my journey, and the longer that I can go without having another episode, the better. For me, the first hardest step was admitting to myself that I had a problem and that it needed to be addressed. The next hard step was talking to my coach, was talking to Chrissy about it. And then obviously the next hard thing is talking to all you guys about it. But from here, if I was to have another episode, I would probably be discussing with Chrissy if I need to seek further help, if I need to seek help of someone who is a specialist psychologist, eating disorder psychologist, someone in this area. However, I feel like I've made the necessary steps at this point to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And if it does happen again, then I will take further steps to try and really nip this in the bud. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Okay, so I think that's everything that I want to say in this video. Thanks for sticking with me for this long. I really hope that it made sense. But yeah, I guess although I don't technically have an eating disorder anymore, I feel like some of those tendencies and habits will always kind of be inside of me, and obviously have very much become real and come to the surface over the last 4 to 5 months. But I guess if anything, I hope that this video shows some vulnerability, and if it's ringing true with any of you guys, I really hope that you're really honest with yourself about what you might be going through, and then speak up and talk to someone. Trust me, I know that it's hard. I've literally lived this like previously during my eating disorder, and then right now over the last 5 months. It was bloody hard admitting to myself that there was an issue that needed addressing, and then actually talking to someone and addressing it. So please, it's not just some minor thing. You are worthy of help no matter how minor you seem to think that it is, okay? I'm happy to give some further updates as to how I'm tracking, as to how I'm going. I'm feeling in a really good space right now, and I think focusing on this powerlifting comp and focusing on strength and performance is really going to help me, and I'm really hoping that I stay in this zone of not focusing on my aesthetics at all, because ultimately my kind of self-image is what fuels a lot of the eating disorder. So please give me a thumbs up and show your support for me and this video. I'd really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, I'm not like a qualified professional, I'm just a normal girl, but I can do my best to answer any questions that you guys might have. And if you want to see more of my powerlifting journey or anything like that, if you have any suggestions for videos to do with powerlifting, leave them below. But if you want to follow along with me more, I can also give an update as to how I progress with this issue. Make sure that you subscribe as well, but otherwise, this was tough, but I think I feel better now. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.